developments in government that matter to you. And now, live from our offices in Princess, here are our hosts, Jessica Jack and Tina Lopes.
Hello everyone, good day. My name is Johnson John Rose. I'm in for Jessica Jack, who's out on assignment. Thank you so very much for joining us on radio and online. We're a little bit late this morning because the technology doesn't always work, and the internet was just a little bit hesitant to make it happen. But we're all on now, and we're really very happy that you are able to join us. And as usual, we'll open up the lines for your questions and your comments in a few moments. The numbers: 599-318-4815, 599-318-4815. You can send a WhatsApp message, you can send a voice note, or you can ring us at that number, and we'll be glad to just chat with you as well. And I am sure that our guests today, Sharon Vera and Kimani Kitson Walters, look forward to your input and to interacting with you as well. Sharon is our veterinarian, and she's the newly elected president of CaribVet. Kimani is policy advisor on agriculture, nature, and the environment. They're here to bring us up to speed on a major conference. It's an agricultural, livestock, and fisheries conference. It's scheduled to be held here later this month. It's the second such conference that's taking place. The first took place, it's a conference of Dutch Caribbean Islands, and the first was held in Aruba last year. We'll find out what it's all about in just a moment. But first, I want to talk to Sharon, and as you're the newly elected president of CaribVet, as we said. Let's talk, what is CaribVet, Sharon?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. CaribVet. So to start with, you have two networks in the Caribbean. You have CCFIO and you have CaribVet. So CCFIO is the Caribbean Chief Vet Organization of CARICOM, the CARICOM Chief Vet Organization, and then you have CaribVet. That's the Caribbean Veterinary Network. So in CCFIO you have the CARICOM members, and in CaribVet you have the CARICOM members plus overseas territories. So that's how Stacia rolled in. So we became a member in 2014.
Okay, so we became a member in 2014, and then you were elected just recently, just a couple of weeks ago, as the president. Prior to that, from what I gathered, you were vice VP, so you've been going up the ranks.
Stacia is going up the ranks. In the network, you're actually elected by country, so you're being addressed by country, so that's why I always say it's Stacia is elected. In 2019, in the conference was in Cuba, Stacia was elected as vice president. And then in 3 years later, would be 2022, Stacia was re-elected as vice president, and this year as president.
Okay. So in case there is a replacement for Sharon Vera, Stacia remains in the position, so it's not the individual, it's the country.
Yes.
That's okay. I guess I can imagine people are sitting here and listening and asking, but what is this CaribVet thing about? I mean, what does it mean for us?
Yes, so it's a network of Caribbean veterinary services. So what we do, we execute research projects, and we come together also to standardize any certification that have to do with veterinary services. So it can be diseases, it can be import-export, production, so anything that have to do with production of animals, food safety, food security, so the whole veterinary services.
You use the word standardize, so people know whatever standard they've got in Stacia, you can get it in.
That's what we're trying to get,
to.
Yes, because in the Caribbean, what we're trying to do is that we have a network where we work together, but at the same time, that we don't block each other, but facilitate, so that we coordinate and cooperate amongst each other. I mean, it's one region. If we don't work together, we will be like far from home. So not everything is like black and white standardized, because some countries have certain standards a little higher than the other one. But as long it's not higher than WHO or WOA, and it's scientifically based, it is okay.
Now, what does the presidency mean for Statia?
For Statia, first we were placed on the map, because when I joined CARIFED, a lot of people didn't even know where St. Eustatius was. I had to explain where the island is, and for a Dutch island, it is a big achievement, because usually all those positions go to the British islands. So for us as Dutch islands to have basically the highest position it's a
It gives us a bit of bragging rights, doesn't
Yes.
it? So,
like, okay, the Dutch reached somewhere, yes.
yeah,
So,
we've made it somewhere.
Yeah.
And generally, as you said, also a pretty good networking organization as well. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
actually, before I took up the presidency, vice president position in 2019, Curacao had it. So actually, we're the second island, but the first small Dutch island to get a position.
Okay, brilliant. So, well, congratulations to us,
yes.
to all of us. But I'm sure we couldn't have gone there without you and the network. And there's always a benefit to networking like that when you've got colleagues from all over
Yes.
coming together, isn't it?
It's a benefit for Statia, especially we always have people traveling from other islands to come here. And if you are part of a network like this, you get to know people. So everything you do makes it easier. You get to know the person in position in other countries, so you can easily just take, we say here the short lines. You just take the phone and you deal and put everything in place. And for example, your dog can come. Of course, all the standards and regulations in place, but because you network, you can get things done faster.
It's, to me, there's nothing like just being able to pick up the phone and say, "Hey Sharon, this is Johnson, you know, Baltic, we're dealing with this situation here in country X. How do you deal with it at Statia?" and or vice versa.
Exactly.
And say, you know, there's nothing like that.
Yes. For example, a disease outbreak, and then sometimes I would call colleagues like, "Hey, what do you do with this?" Or they even call me, import issue, how do you deal with that? And then all of my experience, I can give advice. So that's the whole network about. And also research, because we're dealing with microorganisms, so constantly they're mutating or they're taking other hosts, other species as hosts. So when you do research, then you can be updated. And in the network, when there are projects that are funded by bigger organizations, you can join projects like that, and then you get updated.
Brilliant, well done.
Thanks.
Okay, and Kimani is sitting there, you know, in awe. I mean, you can see his jaw taking everything. So we also want to talk a bit about the Dutch Caribbean Conference on Livestock, Agriculture, Fisheries. It's the land and the sea and everything in between.
Yes.
It's taking place, we said, at the end of this month, going into the 1st of June. So tell us a little bit, first of all, about what the conference is, what it's about.
Yes, first of all, good morning, everyone, and thanks for having us, Sharon and myself here. So for the conference, the Dutch, the alliance, as we call it, the DC Alpha, which is the Dutch Caribbean Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries Alliance. Yes, it's a mouthful, but it really represents the collaboration that we have. So this alliance is focused on improving the primary sectors across the 6 islands, so all the Dutch islands, and we have identified a couple of topics that we want to focus on. So we have the policy on good agriculture practices, agro projects and curriculums for our schools, data and information platform, fisheries policies and opportunities, law, policy and procedures related to the sector. So we want to, as the Caribbean Veterinary Services Association is also doing, we want to standardize that the laws and policies in that sector to ease, to make it much easier for us to collaborate with each other. And there's some, of course, some instances, some policies that we are more developed on that other islands aren't. So we use that information to share with each other and build up each other. And there's also
Yes, go ahead.
identifying finances for the various actions that we want to execute.
I would like to dissect each one of them as we go along through the course of this program, but let's go back to the genesis of this alliance. It's an alliance of the 6 Dutch Caribbean countries and agriculture, fisheries, livestock, as you said. As I said at the top of the program, the first conference was held in Aruba last year. And there we signed an MOU.
Yes.
So take us back a little before we go forward.
So actually the genesis came from a conference that was held in Curacao in 2022, if I'm not mistaken, where all the 6 islands came together, and they were coming out of COVID, where most islands who depend on tourism and imports of 90% of their food, we had that massive shock of where we're going to get our food from. And because traditionally most of our islands were agricultural breadbaskets in the 60s and the 70s. So we want to see how, as the 6 islands, can we get back to that stage where we're all sisters, we're all sister islands. How can we assist each other? Because all of us are at different stages. How can we assist each other in getting ourselves back to this level of being the agricultural breadbasket for the region, for the 6 islands again?
So the seed was planted there.
Then from that first meeting in Curacao in 2022, Aruba took the decision to chair the next meeting, which was held in June of last year. And between the first meeting and the second, we had decided that the islands had decided that the LVV departments would sign a MOU to make it more concrete, to outline what we wanted to focus on over the next 3 years or even more. So then we had that discussion and the signing of the MOU in June last year, and then Stacia was elected to host the second, technically the first official meeting of the DC Alpha, the alliance, but actually the 3rd meeting in the series. So it's the inaugural meeting of the alliance being held at Stacia.
So sort of first.
Sort of. Yeah.
Officially first. Planning the way, preparing the way, sort of thing. But so this is really the first official meeting of this alliance. So there's an MOU.
Yes.
That means there are certain things that we are looking to do together.
Yes.
What are the key ones that we're looking at? Others
so those were So the MOU outlines generally what we'd like to work on, but specifically focusing on topics related to agriculture, livestock, and fisheries. And then in the last conference we had in Aruba last year, June, we picked out these 6 topics that we wanted to really focus on in the coming years.
No, Sharon couldn't make it to that meeting last year, but you were there.
Yes.
Weren't you? So tell us what transpired there. A quick recap, if you may, of what transpired and leads and how it's going to lead into what we do this year.
Yes, so we had breakout sessions, of course, as you do at conferences. And we also, so the purpose of the conference is not only to interact with, for the government officials to interact, or the policy advisors, it's also to get the people on the ground, so the farmers. So we had farmers from Curacao and Aruba, of course, and Bonaire that participated because it was closer. So we are also asking the farmers here who we've invited, for those who haven't heard, anyone who's interested in agriculture, you're more than welcome to attend the conference, which the specific dates are May 28th to May 31st. And we really want to, because we cannot execute most of these projects without the help of the farmers. And they're the ones literally in the ground planting and providing us with the food we need to survive. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we've got the policy makers, you've got the policy advisors, and then you've got the people who do the work.
Yes.
So that's an open invitation to farmers. I guess, and we have not gone into the details of the conference yet, but I guess people will ask, do I have to pay to go to this thing?
No,
Of course
not. No.
And so it's free, it's open to farmers and everyone involved in agriculture, which is where I want to bring in back Sharon, because you are the one who deals directly with the farmers, most directly with the farmers among the three of us here. So how do we help shepherd them? We're losing a lot of agricultural terms here today. Help shepherd them through this.
Towards the conference?
Yes.
So what we have also is the Farmers Cooperative. So we ask them also to get people interested. So the Farmers Cooperative is participating. And then through them also the farmers. And not only farmers, also fishermen. So farmers and fishermen, because we're also going to have topics on fisheries. So through us and through the Farmers Cooperative.
So we're working closely with them and
Yeah.
them. So they're involved, are they, right now? So they're aware of what's going on and how we can, how they can participate.
Yes.
Okay. So that's just a quick reminder. We're talking, it's a conference on agriculture, livestock, fisheries, overall agriculture, if you may. But let's talk agriculture. So if you've got a question or a comment, 599-318-4815. Let's talk about policy on good agricultural practices. How are we going to weave this into the conference?
So for most islands, well, there are a number of various practices that cater to the particular climate that for each island. There are practices that we need to consider, especially in the face of climate change. The more conventional methods of practicing agriculture are not conducive to sustainability. So we're now focusing on what practices do we need to use, hydroponics or more traditional, more modern techniques, hydroponics, aquaponics. How can we use those new techniques to increase the production, to better feed us and to feed our neighboring islands, really. So that's the main focus of these practices. What lessons have each island learned that we can then use to share that information amongst all of us?
We're a very small island, Sharon, with limited space for almost anything, agriculture included. How do we use these modern practices that we talk about here already? Are we using some of those to encourage the farming that we can share with farmers locally, but also those who've come? Okay,
so greenhouses are one of them. So also in the coming projects, we're gonna try to promote greenhouses, especially with like what Kimani said, the climate change. If you only look at this month, it's supposed to be dry. And it's very wet. So that's one of them, greenhouses. Also, with the greenhouses, you can control your pest a little better when you think of whiteflies and those you see a lot on the island, and caterpillars. So if you have the right greenhouses and the right shade percentage, you could work better on that. With the space, so then, yeah, it's a small island, so with the space you will have to use the right technique to have the highest production per square meter. So that's actually, with space we would be maybe struggling a bit in Stasia, but with other techniques we could still get where we want to be.
Yeah,
yes, go ahead.
If I can add to that, there are other techniques, as Sharon mentioned, that we can use. So agrovoltaics, for instance, we're in the process of working out a project with the EU, with the Green Overseas Program in particular, where we want to increase land use efficiency. So right now the solar park, which gives us around 60%, or no, I think 80% of our energy at the moment was placed on prime agricultural land. So unfortunately, techniques have been developed now where you can plant, it's a very simple idea, plant beneath the solar panels. So the solar panels provide shade, and then also for shade tolerant crops, and even for introducing crops that Statia isn't normally used to producing. So for instance, grapes, we can start to produce our own grapes there.
That would be lovely.
Yeah. So then you can have a Statia wine, right? The Statia grape and the Statia wine. So from grape, but we already do have some wine from other Selby's produces their own wine.
There was a farmer in the past that had grapes also. I have pictures of it still. Yeah, but it's of course other variety, but it's still grapes. So there's a lot that can be done, like Kimani said.
And that's not sea grapes.
No, not sea grapes.
Just want to be clear.
That's a fine grape.
Fine grape vine, yeah.
That would be lovely, wouldn't it? That you can introduce other varieties that are not here, but that you pay an arm and a leg and half your children as well at the supermarket for, because you're importing it.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. So we will look at the agricultural projects and so on, but I want to talk a little bit about what to expect at the conference. Where are we in the planning, and what, on what's going to happen on day 1, day 2, etc.
Yeah. So most things are in place, if not everything is in place already. So on the first day, on the Tuesday, the 28th of May, we'll have our opening ceremony at the Lions Den, and there we'll have. We're hoping to live stream that opening so everyone can see it. We'll have the opening by the governor, most likely, and a few words from the commissioner of agriculture. And we'll also have presentations on the various islands on what progress they've made in the field of agriculture, livestock, and fisheries in the last year, what we've been working on in the last year. And then we'll use the afternoon to do number of discussions on various topics that I mentioned previously. In the evening, we'll have a wonderful welcome dinner at the fort to give, because we really want to have the attendees get a beautiful picture of Statia, to feel Statia, to become a part of Statia as we discuss these topics. Because Statia is a very friendly, very lovely island, so we also want to give them that feeling, of course, show them the best parts of Statia.
So it's a sort of place when you come and you get the feel for it, you don't want to leave.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be pointing fingers at anybody sitting on this panel.
They need to remember it.
We won't be pointing fingers at anybody on this panel right now.
Please don't.
But yeah, you need to remember it, you embrace it, and part of it, so that experience you want to share on the opening night.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
And so a lot of presentations from each country who's participating from all of the 6. I need to ask, because I can imagine that some of our listeners and viewers out there are wondering whether St. Kitts is going to be included in any way in that. Well, we've got Sabre on one side, but St. Kitts, that's also next door.
Well, there's a saying my grandmother used to tell me, saying it in Jamaica, dance a yard before you dance abroad, which translates to make sure your house is in order first, so with you and your sisters before you step out. So, but for sure, St. Kitts will be involved, but not necessarily at this point. We want to, because it's the first meeting of the Alliance, we want to get our heads and head straight and make sure we know what we're about before we start to interact with the neighboring islands. But for sure, a part of it is through the EU just recently signed at the end of last year the Samoan Agreement, which is a collaboration between OCTs and the African countries, African, Caribbean, and Pacific countries. So we'll definitely be using that mechanism to interact with the islands, including St. Kitts within the region, for sure.
Dance a yard before you dance abroad.
Yes.
Yeah, houses have to be set first.
Yeah.
But actually, we already had started a bit with St. Kitts. We visited 2023. No, 2022. And then last year they visited also. So there are some discussions already ongoing. But the alliance is the Dutch
Caribbean.
Dutch Caribbean,
Yes.
Yeah,
So it's among us 6, and then like Kimani said, if we have everything set among us, then we can. But we can do a lot with our neighboring islands. You have to be open. The ENI, the Agriculture Department, we are open to work with any other country that's not, even if you're not Dutch, as long we are on the same level, we have the same opinion and mind and goal, then we're there.
It's the come and go.
Yes,
Common.
Okay,
indeed.
day 2.
Day 2, yes. So we want on the Wednesday, the 29th, we'll give them more of a picture of the various agriculture initiatives that we have on the island. So it will be a field trip day. So we're giving them a small tour of the various agriculture initiatives, and then we'll have so that includes the LVV Johan, the Johan project, which is Shahira Fleming's baby
Yeah.
hydroponics facility. And then we'll also show them the reforestation program, because agroforestry is something that we also want to start introducing on the island, which is using farming with biodiversity. So you're increasing the biodiversity of what you're growing so you can get more throughout the year, as well as you reforest the area to protect the soil and to improve water retention. And then we'll have
shade.
And shade, because shade is very important as the heat goes on. No one really likes to walking in the sun anymore. Right? We don't want those nice big bushy canopies for people to walk from tree to tree, enjoying the wonderful breeze and not being burnt.
Yeah.
That's also a wonderful picture to have. And then we'll have a farm-to-table lunch at the wonderful, majestic Berkeley Plantation, catered by Super Burger, and the menu is going to be amazing. I've seen it, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if you're going to want to be there.
I would like to believe that, as you talk of menus, you talk of the welcome at the fort and the lunch over there, that it is, first of all, local agriculture, a lot of local infused, if you may.
Indeed.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Indeed,
All of
yes.
it, yeah.
Wherever it is possible, every and anything that is produced on the island will be on that plate in front of the attendees for the conference,
So
including fish,
including
conch.
conch. Yeah, because it's a agriculture agriculture conference. So you want to bring as much as possible what you produce, and then the local cuisine, because then the cultural side we have to showcase also. So conch is when we talk about fisheries in Stisha, is always something with conch and dumplings, conch croquette. What are the other
Conch
things?
kebab,
Conch kebab, yeah.
pork conch,
When you go
stewed
to
conch.
Taste of the Cultures, you get all those conch things. So we wanted to showcase that too. So we're going to showcase that too.
Goodness me. And then there is, forgive me, Makiba, station goat.
And
Of course,
we
of course.
cannot forget that.
We cannot forget the sweet station.
Yes.
Of course, of course.
That is also on the menu. It had to. That was one of my requirements.
Mhm.
Any menu, you have to have something with goat. Again, to showcase our culture.
Okay. But it's a question of how it's done. And
Yes,
that's
so
the first.
we left it actually the way they cook it up to the caterer.
Yes, of
But as
course.
long as it's still within our cuisine.
Yeah, so we really want to showcase the local cuisine, local food, local producers, local caterers,
Yeah.
everything as local as possible.
It's interesting you point to local caterers, because often we think agriculture and we think the people who are practicing agriculture, like the farmers and stuff, and we often forget that there is a chain. Agriculture is a chain,
Yes.
really,
Indeed.
and so the caterers are part of agriculture, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we call it the farm to table, because it starts there, and some people forget. They get the big steak on the plate in the restaurant, they get the salad, but it doesn't fall from the sky.
Mhm.
It starts by somebody in a yard.
Unless it's a chicken that you're flying.
But still,
You gotta break it down.
even if you go hunting and so, there is somebody behind it that has to go and do it and get it. So sometimes, even in policies, I see that sometimes they forget that piece. So we're trying to push it and highlight it, like, okay, there's a whole chain. It's not only the end product, but it starts somewhere. So that's why we're going to try to highlight also and pressure on so that the policies can come out.
Reflect that.
Reflect that, yeah.
And you mentioned, so we're taking the delegates on a tour of what we do. A lot of it will be happening at agriculture, as you said, at the community garden as well.
Yes, yes, of course.
Who are some of the key names that we expect to showcase on that day?
By the community garden is Shahara Fleming with Johan, because she has the greenhouse with the hydroponic system there. Miss Brooks with her traditional farm, and Mr. Wellington. Because we don't have so much time, we're not gonna do it too big, so. Miss Brooks will also like showcase castor oil making, because everybody knows castor oil. It is very diverse in use, the benefits of it. And I realized that there's a lot of castor oil growing on the island. I didn't even know that was a castor oil plant until she showed me. And I was amazed, so I tried to push her to plant even more castor oil plants so that we can get the youngsters to know where this castor oil comes from. So I asked her to showcase it the day. So she's ready to do that. So we will see that also. The seed, the plant, the seed, and the final product.
And to also bring the Stacia goat back into it again, the tanning that we've started.
Oh, yes.
That the LVW department has started.
Yes, so we started in Bonaire. We went to Bonaire for a training for tanning, leather making, but only goat and sheepskin. So we're going to showcase it too. It's very environmental friendly, because that is the first concern of most people that know about tanning. It's very environmental friendly. And yeah, we have so much goats on the island. Besides eating them, eating the meat, I don't want to sound cruel, eating them. But besides consuming the meat, besides consuming the meat, you have then a product that's left and actually should be considered waste, or could be considered waste, but then we make it a little duurzame in Dutch, how you say it in English, sustainable. And then we went into tanning. So we're now basically accumulating skins, because one of the butchers went to the training, so he was taught how to select, because not every skin is good to use. So we basically now with selecting. In the freezer we have some skins there, and when we have enough to start actual training, then we will do the training. But we have some hides already to showcase, so we will showcase it also.
I'm just curious as to how did you make that leap from castor oil to tanning goat skin?
It is showcasing the various products that Stacia has. That's it really.
And of course we're showcasing, I guess, Selby's.
Of course.
Because
Of course.
that's a station staple. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yes, and with the weather now, we have enough flowers, so the bees are quite happy, I guess. I should ask Selby's how his production is going, because they should be quite happy. So we will have enough honey. So anybody that maybe wants to buy and even bring back honey, some Stacia honey, it will be available.
There's a lot of Stacia sweetness going around. Sweet Stacia goat, sweet honey, and stuff. And then we've got that's day 2, so we're going out there, and then there is also from what I gather, tree planting as well.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Yes. The cultural heritage inspector, Mr. Richardson, Remy Richardson, in our discussions in the committee meetings, he identified that he told us that that Stacia has a cashew tree history, that the Amerindians before us called the island in their language Cashew Island. So to bring that forth, to bring up the cultural heritage of our island, we decided to have each island plant a cashew tree as a commemorative event to remember the conference, and for the people to know there's a symbol of, hey, the 6 islands, we're not sleeping, we're sitting and we're working together to develop the sector.
Wonderful gesture, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, I believe
The
so.
idea behind it, like history, it triggers people. So I like the idea.
Do we know where we're going to plant these trees yet?
So, well, a few will be by the GTI terminal. We've spoken to them already. So whenever the kids go and play, they can see, oh, the cashew tree, and also eat from the tree when it does bear.
Playground.
The
GTI,
playground.
what did I say? Playground? Oh, terminal. Oops. The GTI playground. Sorry, yes. And the other locations, I can't. Oh, the LVV department.
The LVV department, so we can still have them if we want to make, if we want to propagate later. And by the Wilhelmina Park.
By the Wilhelmina Park,
yeah.
yes.
Okay. So 6 trees planted, 1 representing each
Each
of the
island.
6 islands in there. And that's day 2.
Yes.
Day 3.
Day 3 is
It's Thursday.
it's Thursday the 30th. It's a day full of discussions. This is one of the days we would want the local farmers to come and to interact as well. And for anyone who has thoughts on agriculture, please stop on by. And then after a full day of discussions, we break the discussions to go to Taste of the Cultures on that Thursday evening, which has the agriculture, a farm to table, also another farm to table theme for Taste of the Cultures.
So Taste of the Culture are working with us
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
to make it happen so it's seamless
Yes.
in that way as well.
Indeed.
Good.
We try to incorporate different departments, so it's not only LVV, the agriculture department doing it. So we have the tourism, GIS of course, but tourism because yes, you need that aspect in it too, and yeah,
Culture,
and
as you said.
culture
really
department,
Yes, culture
yes.
department.
who's,
Yeah.
who's part of the team. So it's a team effort from,
Yes.
from
Indeed.
all
The
together.
island too.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Team not just within the government but the island, because you can't do it without, as we said, the farmers, can't without the caterers, without the entertainers.
Yes.
Yes, entertainers. We have
Yes.
entertainers too. Nothing is complete without entertainment. You need that too.
Gotcha. Okay, and so it's a lot of discussion on Thursday
Yes, and also on Friday.
and also on Friday.
Yes.
And the conference ends on Friday evening.
Friday evening, yes.
How?
So we'll have a small closing at the Lions Den again, and then we have a farewell barbecue, a nice closing barbecue at D Junction, for them to we need them to leave with the final beautiful Statia sunset with a nice Statia green flash, which from what I hear and I've experienced is very beautiful at the junction.
Am I the only person who's never seen a green flash?
From
How many times I watched the
maybe have
sunset?
a green tint in your glasses that blocks it.
blue. How many times I've watched the sunset? Watch the sunset, you'll see it. Unless I'm too daft to recognize what
I
it is.
never focus on it, so
No.
I'll check tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay. So we've gone through, in a sense, the conference program, what's going to happen there, and why our farmers and everyone involved in agriculture should participate. What are the key days that you want people to come? Every day, or?
I would say, well, if you aren't familiar with most of the discussion days, because that's where the people will make the most impact. So the opening day on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you also want to have a one-on-one session, or just a more relaxed session to speak with all the attendees from the various islands, Taste of the Cultures, of course, you can always attend that. So those are the main events we want people to come to showcase their selves to the attendees.
So where are the networking opportunities happening?
So
I wanted just
yeah.
one. Because I was just gonna say it's also that they can come for networking. So, yeah, most times networking is outside of the official settings.
Right.
So I would say during the discussions you can network, but then we have Taste of the Culture. You can do your networking. Because yes, the barbecue also.
Yes.
Yeah.
So most times networking is outside of the official settings, because when you have presentations, everybody's focused on the presentations. You don't have time to talk about anything else. So your networking is during coffee breaks, during lunch, and at the dinner
Yes.
setting.
In the social events.
Social
yes,
events.
Social events,
Yes.
yeah.
So
Yeah, we've got a few minutes left, so I wanted to go into some of those other key areas that we'd mentioned as part of the MOU. Agro projects, curriculum for schools.
Yes.
This is always the very interesting one and can be challenging one as well, can't it?
Yeah.
How do you get the schools to adopt, or even wider ministries of education to adopt and include in the curriculum agriculture? How do you plan to approach this?
So first we have to sit also with Department of Health, Public Health, because you want to set out something that has value to the program that the Public Health sets out also. I have had some discussions with them and participated in some activities they have, and they're going towards like a healthy diet. So you will have to bring that into then what we as agriculture department want to bring to the schools. So it's not that we gonna bring something and then the health department on the other side something else. So it have to be something collaborative. The schools, we have to start young, because when you start young, you trigger the excitement, the knowledge, and they can carry it home. So we still have to sit with the Department of Education. The GVP actually has in the CVQ system an agriculture stream already. So it's just to develop it and have the teachers there. But that is then secondary school. So primary school, we still have to work it out. The idea is to do schooltuinen,
School gardens.
school gardens. So then you can, it's not really playing, but on a lower level, you bring the education of agriculture to the students or to the children.
And if I can add to that, most of the schools, primary schools, they want to add agriculture to their curriculum. It's just that they need the structure. And because, now switching to that, now that we switched to the CSEC, the Caribbean Secondary Examination Council's way of examining, there is an agriculture syllabus that we can apply here. But we also want to, the need or the drive is to try and get the youth to realize that agriculture isn't what it was 10, 30 years ago. It's not just you're in the ground in the hot sun. We want to show them that it has become a more dynamic field now. And one thing, agriculture will never die, because you always want something to eat.
Where does it come from? I mean,
You always need.
You always want and always need.
You always
I mean,
need.
you sort of jumped me down here on what I was about to ask. Traditional agriculture is quite labor intensive. It's spending a lot of time in the sun, as you've mentioned. People don't want to do this anymore.
No.
Especially the young generation. They see it as like hard labor, oh my God. And how fast do I get money so I can buy this iPhone? You know those things? So you have to bring it in a more sexy way to say it like that if you want to have the young generation involved. So
But it's not just it's not just a matter of messaging, sexier messaging. It is sexier method of agriculture.
The method.
Yeah.
So that's what I say.
Yeah.
So you bring the new technology, the new methods to them, and realize and show them that, hey, we can do it different too. We have the same outcome, but we can do it different. So that's where we have to go. That's where
they
we
can make a living out of it,
A
a proper
living,
living out of
proper.
it.
Exactly.
Because they see it as this hard labor thing that never makes money. Even though you make money, but they see it different, like
Return on
fast,
investment
yes.
is not as great.
Not at the same
which is
speed.
which is not true. But you have to showcase them. You have to teach them.
Yeah.
But you still have to rear the cattle. You still have to rear the livestock. You still have to
Plant. Yeah.
the seeds and grow the food. So still have to be done. Is how can we modernize it? I guess.
Indeed. Yeah.
It's the way. I think Johan is probably a good example of
Yes,
that,
and
isn't
that
it?
is maybe I can talk a little on her behalf, but that is her whole idea also. So besides that, she wants to produce, she wants to have this piece of education in it. So she could be like the drive for the young generation on the island to go into the modern technology of agriculture.
The last of the subjects I want to touch is the whole issue of fisheries policy. That is critical to us as well, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially because fisheries is in some respects a shared resource. Everyone has a piece
Of the water.
of the water, right? And if we don't manage it together, then we will all not get food from it, you know. So it has to be done in a sustainable way. And for the Dutch islands, in particular, for us in particular, the Saba, Statia, and St. Martin, we really want to focus on that, because separate and apart from this initiative, the DC Alpha, there was also an initiative of a fisheries conference that was held in December last year, where the more adjacent islands in the region, so the 3 Dutch islands, French side, St. Martin, Anguilla, St. Bart's, St. Kitts,
Yeah.
we are in the middle of discussing how are we going to best approach the idea of fisheries. How do we best use this resource to ensure that everyone benefits, to ensure that, you know, we always have fish for the
We had
future.
discussion on maritime boundaries as well.
Yes,
part of
because-
all of that, yeah.
It's like you heard already, Dutch, French, and British. So there are different regulations. So we have to still work that out.
Yeah.
And it is quite funny because it's one water, but you have 3
Imaginary lines.
imaginary lands. Yeah, you
Each
could
one-
To put
see,
it that way, yes.
you could see the sea there, but you have a boundary there that's on the British laws and others on the
French laws.
French laws and
Yeah.
on the Dutch laws, because Anguilla is literally British. So it's quite amazing.
It is. Now, have we seen, and you mentioned climate change earlier on and the impact and how can we mitigate it. Are we seeing, in terms of fisheries, impact and diminishing, and us probably overfishing as well, diminishing stock, for example,
So
and which is most at risk?
So fortunately for Statia, a report came out last year that our fish stocks are fine, our reef stocks are fine, our reef fish stocks are fine, our pelagics are fine, our lobster are fine, our conch are fine. So we're in a very unique position to more than the other islands in the region where they've really cleaned out everything. We are in a very unique position where we're sustainably using our resource, and we want to keep it that way, so that we have fish for the foreseeable future and beyond.
It's how do we make it sexy for the
Yes,
for the young ones to get into fishing as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess, and all of this will be part of the discussion, I would expect.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That would
So
happen at the conference, yeah?
Yeah, that's why we have a fisheries committee too. So that's what he's lobbying also, is like how to get the young ones into the sector. So they will showcase conch.
Yeah, how you
harvest
operate in the conch
conch, and
fishery.
yeah, so by the conference, by the fisheries department, they will showcase how to harvest the conch, how to operate it, clean it, and I don't know what else, but the whole conch, the whole conch.
And what do you do with the shell afterwards?
Yeah, because the shell is, for now, the island just throws the shell back, which then becomes like a home for other sea creatures. But you can also use the shell for jewelry, for instance.
It's a huge, mate.
Yes. Yeah. So the beautiful pink color on the inside makes beautiful jewelry. And there are a number of tourists that come and say, "Can I get a conch shell? Can I get a conch shell?" for their mantelpiece, etc.
There's a home somewhere
Oh, there are a number of homes.
there.
With
I
a
can imagine
conch wall.
With a wall.
Yes.
Yeah, I
made
think
of-
in Bay Brow there's one for sure. I can't remember where else,
And
but
by
that
Chapel
one,
Peace, there's another
Chapel
one.
Peace,
Yeah,
no?
the wall, the wall.
yeah, they
is,
used it as fencing,
Yeah.
or decoration
Okay.
for the.
Well,
the
still,
fence.
the one I'm thinking of, it's more than just decoration. It's
the
like
whole
the entire,
fence.
yeah,
Yeah.
fencing of the stuff. I thought that's a fabulous way
To reuse it.
to reuse it.
Incorporated, yeah.
Very good. Remind us once again the dates of the conference.
Yeah, so the dates are the 28th of May, the 28th to the 31st of May. So in 3 weeks, roughly.
Roughly, and people depart, sadly, on the 1st of June.
Yes, on the 1st of June.
Or can remain if they wish to
Of course.
hike
That's
the
their
quill
choice.
and, you know,
Yeah, there's a lot more for them to see after we've shown them just
some
the agriculture
diving,
side. Yeah, of course.
stay here, don't leave.
Yeah, they can go and dive and see all the coral reefs
Yeah,
and fishes.
and part of it. But,
Yeah, of course.
congratulations and well done and good luck with the conference. We want to appeal, I'm sure, to everyone involved in farming, one way or the other, who's part of the chain, to join us.
Yes.
Yes.
We just asked them to register, which we will post on the government webpage, or contact us at the ENI office, myself. There's also an online registration form that the public can use to register.
And talking of that, and right behind that, sometime in June, we've got a nature.
Yes,
uh,
the Station Nature
Nature
Festival.
Festival.
Yes.
That is coming up as well. So we've got a lot to talk about.
Yes.
And I know Sharon really does a lot at her department. There's an enormous amount that's happening that we've got to talk about
Yeah.
one of these days.
So I guess we have to come back, Imai.
Yes.
And come back and
That's a
do
good
it
plan.
again. Well, thank you to both of you for this, and once again, good luck with the conference, and thanks everyone else for joining us. Before we wrap up, I want to remind you of something. You know, from the 1st of May, the enforcement began of the traffic laws. So, if I were you, I'd wear my seatbelt.
And put your phone down.
and put the phone down. And if you're riding any motorized cycle, wear your helmet, please. And as I said, if you absolutely must take that call, pull to the side. You know, you can do that as well. Just pull to the side, stop if you can't put the phone down. But if you can, put the phone down, or use the hands-free device and thing that you've got in modern vehicles. You just press a button and have a chat. And if you're driving with children under the age of 3,
Car seat.
please use a safety seat for the children as well. Just a quick reminder of that. Well, that's Shedding Light for today. Jess will be back next week, fingers crossed. Until then, for our videographer, engineer, and everything, Mikey Spanner, and from all of us here at GIS Station, have a lovely day. Goodbye.